Hey guys, welcome back to our channel Glitched Velocity. I'm your host Wazahat, and today in this video I'm gonna show you some uses tutorial for 2D controllers from this collection pack that you can purchase from 𝙎𝙪𝙪𝙧𝙪. So we have so many 2D controllers in this, and I think there is a need for creating a dedicated video for all these extensions or controllers because I haven't recorded any dedicated video for these controllers. So there is no video for 2D top-down shooter, 2D point and click RTS and all those stuff. So I think this is the time to record a video for all these controllers pack. So in this controllers pack, you will get so many 2D controllers type for different game. For example, you can use 2D RPG controller, 2D platformer controller for platformer game, and for RPG game, you can use 2D RPG controller and point and click RTS game. And then we have top down shooter, and along with them you will also get some 2D animation scripts that allows you to create 2D animations in no time, and then you will also get a 2D camera controller for all these different game types. And the most extensive controller, or the one with the most feature, is the 2D top down shooter. You can see so many features we have here for our 2D top-down shooter controller, and I think that's why I have to record a video or dedicated video for that. So I have already downloaded all these controllers to my desktop, as you can see here, 2D platformer controller and top-down shooter controller. And I also downloaded the animation scripts, but there is already a dedicated video for how to use or how to create 2D animations easily. And there's also a different pack if you want to download, if you want to use the CopperCube 2D animation scripts only. So there is a different pack for that. So you will get the same animation scripts here as well. So if you don't want to purchase the whole pack for CopperCube 2D controllers and you just want the 2D animation scripts, then you can purchase it as well. There is also already a dedicated video. You can go ahead and watch the video on YouTube. It is like CopperCube 2D games are going to be easy. So let's just start the video. And so we have the first controller named as 2D platformer controller, and I'm going to extract it on my desktop. So here we have, and today I have updated this extension as well, because there was a bug in the previous version which was addressed by Vegan Pete, also known as VP in the MBRF forums, that the fall animation or the falling animation was not playing correctly when you hold down the spacebar key for jump and double jump. So let's just start this platformer.ccb file, and you will get this sample demo, and we are going to simply go to the left, or you can change viewport type to right, and you will not be able to see the character. So you can switch to the left viewport. It is easier to create 2D games in a dedicated viewport like left, front, top, back, instead of perspective. You can see your game in one axis or 2D only. So it is much easier. So we have our some cliffs here that we can stand on. So these are just placeholder for colliders. These are simply cube meshes that I used for colliders or collision. We have some cube meshes here as well, and we have our player here. So if you go to the root scene node, you will notice that there is no behaviors attached to the root scene node. And if you go to the active camera, then you will see there is a 2D platformer and RTS camera controller. And there is a dedicated video for the camera controllers, so you can go ahead and watch that video on YouTube. But there is no dedicated video for the platformer controller, I think. So the platformer controller requires a video. So you can check, it is platformer style camera, so you can check the platformer style. If you are using top down shooter, then you can simply check this top down style camera. If you are using RTS style camera, then you can use RTS style camera. Then we have these two options, Z forward and X forward. These two options are also present in the player platformer control. So if I select the player, then we have this 2D platformer controller behavior. And let me just move it here so that we can see them more clearly. So we have 2D platformer controller, and we also have X forward and Z forward in our platformer controller. And we also have these in the camera controller. So if you have already watched the camera controller video, then you already know what these two features are. So you have to select the axis Z forward or X forward depending on the development environment of your game. So right now, if you look at the axis when we select any object, so Z axis or the blue axis, which is the Z axis, is pointing towards the right of the screen. So this is going to be a Z forward game. But if we go to front mode, I think, or you can say back mode, front or back mode, it doesn't matter, but it will be much easier if you see it like this. So when you have x-axis pointing towards the right of the screen, then you are using the X forward development environment. So you have to make sure that your z-axis is pointing towards the right direction if you are going to use the Z forward, or if you are going to use X forward, then your x-axis or the red axis is pointing towards the right or left direction. So it can be in the left direction as well, or it can be in the right direction as well. It is recommended to use left or the back viewport because they point towards the right direction of the screen. So we select the player, then we have Z forward selected because Z is pointing towards the right of the screen. Then we have some other bunch of options here, like animation 2D mode. This supports two modes of animation. One is the default mode where you have these where you create animate a texture, where you use this animated texture behavior for your animation and provides all the animations. And the other mode is for the 2D animation script mode. So if you use CopperCube 2D animation scripts to create your animation, then you can use them as well in the 2D platformer controller instead of animated texture, you know, for your player idle and walk all the animation. So there are two modes supported by this extension so that you can use either the inbuilt animations or the mode that supports CopperCube animation created by CopperCube animation scripts. So then we have a speed, and it is self-explanatory. It decides the speed of our player or the moment speed of our player when you press arrow keys for moving left or right. Then we have double jump option. You can simply uncheck it so that your player will jump only once. And if you check it, then your player will do the double jump. Let me just quickly try to show you an example by publishing it. So you can see we have our example or demo running as a game. Let me just quickly make it a running in a larger window, 1920 by 1080p. And we are not going to use full screen because my screen recording software then just blacks out the screen for, and I use full screen for games. So as you can see, this is our game. We can move the character. You can see my key presses here. I'm pressing arrow key to move left and right, and it automatically switches back from idle to move animation. And when you stop, it goes back to the idle animation. If you press spacebar, then it will go to the jump animation, and when it starts falling, it switches automatically to the fall animation. So it jumps and falls, and if you press it double, then it will do the double jump, as you can see. And if you hold down it, then it will do the double jump for the first time, then it will stay in the single jump loop. Can also stand on these cliffs. You can see it looks like that we are playing an actual 2D game. And yes, it is an actual 2D game. Assets are used by from the assets in this demo is from 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙝. He's a great artist. I have used them in the Sunnyland project as well, that you can download from neophyte.cf. And so yeah, you can see we can move the player, we can jump, we can do the double jump, and the controller automatically does everything for you. It switches the animation, it everything. It automatically moves your character on whatever axis you want. So then we have jump velocity. It decides how high our player will jump. Then we have second jump velocity. It will decide how high our player will jump when we press the space bar again for the double jump. So all these options are self-explanatory, but I'm still going through them. Then we have jump and time MS, and this is the really important option here. So it is the time value that will decide when your fall animation is going to activate. So you have to manually edit this as per your game, as per your jump velocity and second jump velocity, and as per your gravity of the scene. Because this project uses physics simulation, so it requires your gravity and the velocities, and the jump and time MS should be based on these factors. So let's say if you're jumping like up to here, and it takes 500 milliseconds for your character to goes here and then it starts falling down, then you have to specify 500 here. But if it takes 100 milliseconds to complete this height, then you have to specify 100 here. So this needs to be manually adjusted as per your game. Otherwise, the fall animation will play much faster or much later like this. So you have to manually adjust it. Then we have a smooth speed, and it will decide how smooth your player movement will be. Or when you leave the key, then the should the player uh, stops immediately, or should it moves after some time? So let me just show you by using 0.5 here. And if we test the application, and if I press and leave my key, then you will notice how far it moves even when I'm pressing the key for just one time. And it moves a bit much further, and then it slows down slowly. And you can adjust it like 10, and it will immediately stop when you leave the key. So if I press like this, you can see it is stopping immediately, and it is not smooth movement. So there is no smooth movement. It is stopping immediately when you leave the key. So if you want this kind of movement in your game, then you can use that. But I always prefer to 3.5 or something like that. So the smooth movement. Then you can specify the animation. You can specify move animation. You can specify jump animation, fall animation, and idle animation for your player. You can simply select the node with the animation, and it will do the rest of the thing. Then you can also specify actions for, like, you want to play a sound when moving, or you want to execute something else when moving, or you want to do something when your player is idle, or if you want to do something when your player is jumping, like you want to do some sort of explosion things, or you want to show an overlay or like that. Then you can also use action on fall. So there are some actions that you can also execute as for your player. So this is just a player controller, and there is nothing much about it. And I have already told about the camera. You can see the dedicated video on how to use the camera. There are so many features here. And now let's just move towards the next, we have the next controller type. So we have 2D top-down shooter controller, and I'm gonna leave it for the last because it is the most extensive one, and it will require, I think, a separate video or something like that. But let's just move to the point-and-click controller. Let's just open it. I'm not sure which file I have used for the point-and-click, and so I think we have this checkerboard texture, and this is a character with add direction movement. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have used 5 directions for animations, and you can simply click this and then right click somewhere else and it will move towards that direction. I think that's how we use RTS games or like point and click controller. And let's just try publishing it. Let me just first change the 1920 1080. And let's just test the application. Control F10. We have our player here. We can select it. And if I click somewhere else and if I try to do right click, you can see the green, uh, you know, green circle around this mouse cursor when I press the right key, and when I press left key, then you can see the red circle. So I'm pressing left key here, and if I press right anywhere else in my scene, our player will not move. First, we have to select our player. So there is right now no indicator or indications that we have selected our player, but the player is selected, and then we can simply do the right click anywhere in our game, and it will switch the direction automatically. There is also a video. There is this green character that was for debugging for the, you know, mm, down left direction. I think it is the upright direction, up direction, right direction, left direction, then down left, down right. We have these kind of movement. There is also one video I think on my that is all about Age of Empire clone, and this is very similar to that example in which you can simply select the unit and with your left mouse and then move with your right mouse. So now let's just look at the behavior. So we have a camera and there is no RTS camera attached here, but we can simply attach an RTS camera to, scroll or move our camera around. But I'm not gonna do that. If you want, you can see the dedicated video for the camera for the RTS control. But if you want, I can show you in this video. Sure, but I think that will just increase the time or the length of the video. So we are going to skip that part. If you want, you can. I will put the link in the I button up here. You can click that and check the dedicated video for how to use 2D camera extension for creating RTS or something like that. So it's a really simple behavior. You don't have to do anything. Simply specify the speed or walking speed for your character, player. Then you can simply specify all the animations. Walk animation, walk down animation, walk right animation, walk upright animation, walk down right animation. I will update it to execute actions whenever player is walking right, walking upright, and all those stuff. And I might add more features to it, like attacking animation and all those stuff, if I get good response. But this is the very underrated project of mine, so nobody is interested in. I think there are some people interested in this and are using this, but I don't know if people would like to create 2D RTS games anymore. Used to love Age of Empires, so I have to create it. Then we have 2D RPG movement controller. And so it uses the same. Where is our player? Oh, our player is invisible. It is visible. Why can't I see it? Or maybe it uses a different mode of animation, I think. Yeah, I think it uses a different mode of animation, but it is not visible. Maybe because of this material. So let's just start this Who's publishing set Windows 20 by 1080. Simply try publishing. So we have our character in the walking loop, and let me just try it out by pressing up, and it is moving it to the up direction. If we press down, then it will move to down, and if we leave any key, then it will turn simply green. And if we move right, it goes right. We have kind of movement. I haven't added, I think, up down and up right and up left, or down right and down left movement. Yeah, I haven't added that movement for this RPG. So it has 4 animations and controls. Like you can move with the. So this is in the top down mode, and we are moving to this, and it won't fall down. So you don't have to worry about it. You can go beyond the checkerboard. Stay in the. So let's just look at the camera first. We have 2D player and RTS camera controller attached here, and we are using the top-down style camera because the game is created in a top-down mode. So if we go to the top mode and zoom out, then you can see it is much easier to create games that way. And if we go to the player, then we have 2D RPG movement controller attached here. And then we have some bunch of options. You have 2 modes of animation, and either use the inbuilt uh, you know animate texture, or the one with the animation mode or created by 2D animationists. We have walk up animation, walk down animation, sidewalk animation, which is walk right and left. You don't have to specify 2 animations. For example, you don't have to specify left and right animation differently, and it will save some resources for you. And because it is just mirroring the animation of the right animation and the left animation. Then we have some actions as well. You can execute an action when you are idle, and when you are walking up, when you are walking down, when you are walking left and walking right. So this is for the RPG controller. And that's it. That's all for this RPG controller. So they are just pretty basic, but the most extensive one is the top down shooter, and we are getting there. So I have to pause the video, I think, because I don't know if I or not. I should stop recording, and I will continue recording from here. So here we are again. So I had to go because I have some errands to do, but now I'm back. So let's begin where we left. So I think we left to the 2D top-down shooter, I think. So yeah, let's just extract it on my desktop. Extract to CopperCube 2D2 top-down shooter. And there we have tds.ccb. Let me just open it. So yeah, here we have, you can see we have a 2.5D scenes with some cubes which are just stretched out or scaled to looks like wall. Let me just switch to top mode so that we can see it much better in a 2D view. But the final game is not going to look like this because we don't have any orthographic camera projection. We are going to see the game in 2.5D because these are cube meshes, not plane meshes. If we have used plane meshes for the walls, then it will look like this, but we are using cube meshes, so it will look 2.5D. So we have some obstacles in this. Let me just go to the scene hierarchy here or scene explorer so that we can see what we have in our scene. So startup skybox, it doesn't matter, you can delete it. Then we have our camera, which is a 2D platformer and RTS camera control with TDS style camera. It doesn't matter if you select Z forward or X forward, or if you unselect both of them whenever you are using TDS style camera, it is still gonna work. So it doesn't matter at all. And as I have said already, you can watch the dedicated video for the camera control. And then we have our bullet with the material, this bullet material applied to it. It is simply a plane mesh, I think, and nothing else. Then we have our cube mesh, which is an obstacle in our scene. Then we have cube mesh 2, which is also an obstacle. Then we have bullet AI. It is just another bullet with just an animation attached to it, animated texture behavior. So it is an explosion animation for a bullet, and it is nothing else. Then we have 2D overlay, which will show the health of the player. Then we have our ally. Then we have our background, which is the checkerboard, or I think it's not a checkerboard, it is just a white plane mesh. Then we have our player, and we have some enemies. And all these player or allies and enemies, you already have guessed that we have some AI stuff going on in here because we have allies, we have enemies. So there is definitely an AI stuff going on here. So we have these fire point, and they are actually the point from where our allies will fire, or friends will fire, or our player will fire. So let me just quickly test it now. So let's just go to the publishing settings and make it 1920 by 1080 so that we can watch it much more better. So here we can rotate our character with the mouse. So where our mouse is pointing, our character will point. And then we can shoot. You can see we are shooting 3 bullets, and we can't go past through this walls because we have collide when moved behavior attached, I think. And if I shoot at any obstacles, then the bullet will just explode. So there is impact, bullet impact going on here. You can see. And you will also notice these AI are not ducking into the scene, and they started chasing me and they shot me down. So game over. I am done. So let me just start it again. And so the AI is also avoiding these obstacles. As you can see, they are, whenever they get near to a wall, or whenever they collide with a wall or an obstacle, they are going to change their direction. You can see they are going to change their direction automatically. So they are randomly moving, but when I get in their proximity or in the radius, then they will start chasing me. And once I get out of the radius, they will start going randomly towards scene. Let me just, and if I shoot at them, they will be dead. And if they shoot at us, then we will be dead. We are dead now. You might be wondering why this was stuck here, because there are some, collide when moved behavior, collision or the collider ellipsoid problems here with the cube mesh collisions. They might stuck somewhere in between these. We have to adjust the call small distance, right? So that they won't stuck to the walls. But yeah, there is this still issue. We can easily uh, fix that, or there are workaround for this. But I'm gonna share a tip on how to use better collisions in your 2D games, how to you prevent yourself from repetitive tasks. We have our AI friend, and this AI friend will shoot the enemies and it won't shoot us. So let's just try the application again and move towards our live friend. I can control the player with the W, A, and S or D key, as you can see. We have our ally here. It is stuck right now, but when an enemy comes into the proximity of this or in its radius, it is going to shoot. So our enemy just killed our ally friend, and now he is chasing us. Just kill him down. This is how it works. Now let's just. You might be wondering, well, these are stucking in this between, and they all have different properties. So enemies are much more powerful and allies are not that powerful. That is why this enemy just shot down the ally in just 1 or 2 bullets. And they all are using shotguns. So they all are going to shoot 3 bullets at a time. You can choose different bullets, different guns, or like that. So let's just, that's the behavior. So we have this 2D top-down shooter behavior, and let me just move it here so that we can see it much more clearly. And as you can already see, we have so many options here. So many options here. So the first one is gun type. You can simply remove the shotgun and it will become a pistol or an assault rifle. So let's just start the application. And if I shoot now, then you can see it is shooting single bullet at a time. And the behavior already manage or automatically manage the collision of bullets with the obstacles and with the enemies, all those stuff. Then we have bullet. You can simply specify the bullet node, which is nothing, just a plain mesh with a texture. So you have to select which bullet you want your player to shoot. So let's say if you have multiple bullets, for example, if you have a flamethrower and you want to use a different texture or different animation for your bullets, for your bullet impact and for your bullets, then you can use that. So you can create a variety of guns with it. You can create a flamethrower, you can create a laser shooter or something like that. So you can use a variety of guns. So let's just go back to the behavior. You can specify the bullet node. Right now we are using the bullet with this texture, but you can specify any bullet in your scene. Then we have impact node. It is actually the bullet impact node or the bullet impact animation. It is the animation for the bullet which will play up whenever the bullet collides with anything. Either it's an enemy, either it's a wall, either it's an obstacle. So right now it uses bullet AI, which is this, again, a plain mesh with animated texture behavior that simply plays these two textures whenever our bullet collides with anything. Then we have fire point. So fire point is really necessary. You need to make sure, if I zoom in to our player, and you can see fire point is nothing but an empty node as a children to our player or to all of the objects. Like we have enemies, we have allies, and it decides from where you want to shoot the bullet. So I want to shoot the bullet at from this point. This is the gun point or the fire point. let's say if you have a different sprite or different texture for your player and it has a gun pointing here at this point, then you can simply move your fire point from here to here and set it there. So it will shoot from that position instead of shooting from this position. Right now we have this sprite and we have our fire point located here. So if I move this fire point like here, then it will start shooting bullets from here instead of this gun point. So this is really, I think, a good feature that you can specify from where you want to shoot the bullet instead of shooting bullet from anywhere. So let's go back to the behavior. You can specify the fire point from where you want to shoot the bullet. Then there are some general properties like player speed, how fast or slow you want your player to move with the cursor keys like WASD or arrow keys. Then you can also specify bullet speed, how fast your bullet should shoot. Then you can also specify bullet damage, how much damage your bullet will deal to the AI or enemies. And then you can also specify shoot once option. There is shoot once option. So let's say we have our gun type and we want to shoot only one, like we want to use it as a pistol. Right now it act as an AR if we don't have shoot once enabled. So if I play the application and if I hold down mouse cursor, then it is shooting continuously like an assault rifle. So it is shooting continuously. But I can select this shoot once. And if I test the application now, then you can see if I hold down the cursor, then it will shoot only once. You can see my, so I have to regularly press it in order to kill the enemies or allies. Not the allies, AIs. So you can have the shoot once option selected if you want to shoot one bullet at a time, and then it will require you to click again and again to shoot continuously. So it will act as a pistol. Then we have bullet range. You can specify the range of the bullet. You can change it to 100, 1000. So let's just change it to 1000. And if I test the application, then you will notice our bullet will go much farther. And previously it was just like here, and it will simply vanishes whenever it reaches here. But now it is moving much farther and you can see the bullet impact whenever it collides with the wall. You might not be able to see the bullet impact sometime because of the 2.5D nature of the game. And yeah, you can see that this AI has been stuck here, this AI has been stuck here, and that's because of the all small distance. Then we have bullet range. Then we have time-based range. So if you select this option, and let me just move it here. So if you select time-based range, then the bullet range will be used as time. So it will take 1 second to remove the bullet from the scene. That's the application now. And if I shoot, then you can see it is not going to the wall and it is automatically becoming invisible after 1 second. So it is not going further than 1 second. So you can have time-based range or distance-based range. So if you uncheck this, then it will go to the 1000 distance. And if you have this checked, then it will wait for 1 second to remove the bullet from the scene. Then you have bullet magazine. So you can specify how many bullets you have in your hand or the player will have. Or you can see it is like real magazine or magazine slot. Like right now I have 17,000, I think, or 1,70,000. You can change it to something like 10, and we can only be able to shoot 10 bullets, and then we are required to reload our gun in order to shoot again. So if I try it now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now it is not shooting any bullets. Now we have to reload it or collect the bullets to fill our magazine. And if I press R, it reloads the bullets. So let me just simply, so I have shooted all the bullets and the magazine is now empty. I have to press R in order to reload. And now if I shoot, then we'll be able to shoot. And I think it requires me to press R 2 times. Now I have to press R, and it will take some time to reload as well. So you can see I can shoot, and then it will shoot 10 bullets, and then I will press R again, and then it can shoot 10 bullets. Then I have to press R again, and it will shoot 10 bullets again. So this is how the magazine works. You can specify the number of bullets in the magazine. For example, if you have a shotgun, you can specify a different magazine. If you have a magazine count, if you have a pistol, you can specify a different magazine count, and that's all. And then we have reload delay. So whenever you press R or the reload button, then how much time it will take to reload. So if you press R and it starts shooting immediately, it won't shoot. Let's say if I have 2000 here, then it will require 2 seconds to reload the gun or the magazine. Then only I will be able to fire. That's why when I was trying to reload and shooting continuously, you have noticed that it was not shooting at all. And that's because of the delay. Then we have bullet look into motion. Right now, when we shoot, the bullet look into the direction where it is shooting. So let me just uncheck it. And now if I shoot, you are not able to see the bullets, but you are able to see the impact. And that's because, let me just first change the bullet magazine to something else like 10,000 and remove the shoot once. So now bullet is not looking at the correct direction, but you are able to see the bullet impact. When we shoot, you can see the bullet impact, but you are not able to see the bullet itself. And that's because it is not moving into the right direction or the movement direction, the object. And I could have another texture for the bullet to showcase it much better. But we have this option here when you don't want to shoot in the, bullet direction. Maybe it was shooting in the downwards and like that. So there is this option. Right now, I can't show you what it does when you uncheck this option because I don't have good bullet right here. I can use. Had this in a test video, but not here in the scene. And I don't know if I had this in my computer as well because it was a project that I have created a long time ago. I don't remember a lot of things right. So we have bullet look into motion. Then we have this aim only when mouse moved. So this option is also great. Right now, if we play the application, then you can rotate or aim your character without pressing any keys. But if you have this option select, then I think right now, wait a second, I made a mistake, I think. So this will, what this will do is, if you are not moving your mouse cursor and if you move your character, then you will notice that it will automatically look towards your mouse cursor. It doesn't matter wherever it is. So it is aiming towards the mouse cursor. But what if we want to aim only when we move the mouse? So if we have selected this, and then you can see, if I don't move the mouse cursor, like I have this mouse cursor here, and I don't know how to show you this properly. So yeah, now you can see. Wait. So if I put my mouse cursor here on my character, and if I move, then you will notice, I don't know how to show you this, but I remember it has a very useful feature and aim only when mouse move. So it's just because I don't remember why I have this option. I think it has to do something with this when you move. Oh, I hate when AI just. So we are debugging this in the game. So I think this is what I am thinking. Right now it looks towards the mouse position whenever we move our character, as you can see. So if I have this aim only when mouse move, put it like here, and then still pointing towards the mouse. Aim only when mouse down. Remember it. It has a purpose here. I know that it serves a purpose here. I don't remember what this does, but it has a purpose here. Then we can specify additional rotation for our player, I think. Let's say it is right now it uses 90. If I remove this and make it 0, and if we test the game, then our player won't look in the correct direction for our when we move our mouse. So our mouse pointer is right now down, but our player is looking at left. So in order to correct the rotation, you can specify an additional rotation here, like minus 90, and it will look towards the right direction. Then you can also specify bullet additional rotation. So if your bullet is not uh, showing the correct direction, then you can right now we have a circular bullet, so it doesn't matter it is in which direction it is moving, it will show as a circle. Doesn't matter if it has something else as a rotation, so it will look just like a circle. So but let's say if you are using this as your bullet node, then you want that this look in the correct rotation. So you can specify additional rotation for your bullet as well. Then you have shoot delay. And this is really interesting. Whenever the next bullet is firing, you want a delay in between it. Like it is firing continuously. When you shoot it like this, then and you also notice something here, that it is not moving straight, but it is moving in a zigzag motion or something like that. So whenever you are shooting continuously, there should be a delay. If I change it to 0, then you will notice something interesting. Like this, it is now firing at much higher rate. So it decides the firing rate for your bullets. Now you can see how much bullets we are firing right now. That's a lot. And let's just increase it to where we have shoot delay. Let's make it 5,000. Then we will be only shooting one bullet at every 5 seconds. So at every 5 seconds, it will shoot one bullet. So it is the firing rate, or you can say the bullet shoot delay. So every 5 seconds, if you hold down the mouse, it will shoot one bullet on. So you can change it to 1000. So every 1 second, it will shoot one bullet. If you hold down mouse, it will shoot one bullet every 1 second. This is also another good feature. And the video is getting lengthy, I think. But I have to make this dedicated video for this 2D controller. We have so many options right now here. And we are just halfway through it. Then we have shotgun angle. I just really forgotten what it does. So first we have to add the shotgun, I think. This, I think, it controls the spread of the bullet. So how far your bullets are gonna spread from each other. I think that's what it controls. Because I don't remember when I created this. So yeah, I think it controls the angle or the spread of the bullets. So let's just try one here so that we can test it out. So yeah, it controls the spread, how far your bullets are gonna spread. It controls the spread. As you can see, you can shoot 3 bullets and they are really close to each other. So you can change the shoot angle to something like 90 degrees and they are much farther than each. So all the 3 bullets will shoot like this. So you can create so many different types of bullets or guns with this effect. So right now, as you can see, it shoots so many bullets in so much direction. So as you can see, when I press continuously, it shoots continuously. But when I hold down the mouse, it shoots 3 bullets because we are using shotgun at 1 second. Each 1 second, it shoots 3 bullets because of the shoot delay. And this is really great when you want to create different bullet types. So I think this is the most extensive extension. I don't know why I'm saying this again and again, but this is really an extensive extension. There is so many use cases for this. This is really the best, I think, for now. Right now, it is the best extension to create a 2D top-down shooter with so many features and so many different type of guns. I think I should also create this for 3D games because I think it is a requirement for creating different type of guns in 3D as well. So then we have recoil. And yeah, whenever you are using a gun, we need a recoil. Right now it is using recoil amount of 0.2 and recoil thrust on player as 0.2 as well. So if we turn it off and if we play the game, and let me just change it back to pistol. It doesn't matter if you specify the name or not. And let's just change the shoot delay to 10 or maybe 100. I think 10 is just fine. And now if we play and if we shoot, you will notice that the bullet is now shooting in a straight line. There is no zigzag direction like before. And that's because we don't have any recoil. And when we use a recoil by clicking or checking this recoil option, then we have, and if I shoot now, then you can see the bullet is recoiling or shooting in different direction instead of going in a straight line. So we have this recoil, and then we can also adjust the amount of recoil. Let's say I want it to be 5, then it will go everywhere, I think. And if I shoot now, then it is like, what's happening? I don't know. It is going like, the amount is really high. Let's just make it 0.1 so that it will be a much lower, it fluctuates much lower. The gun fluctuate much lower rate. So you can see it is now fluctuating at very less amount. And if we set to 0, then it will go simply in the straight line. And if I set it to something like 50, I don't know what will happen, but we have to see it. So now you can see it is going everywhere in the every direction. Or player is like, oh, what happened? This is really something else. So it is shooting it in every direction. So you can create a variety of options or recoil amount with this. I love creating this. So then we have recoil thrust on player. Whenever you are shooting with a gun, then you have a recoil thrust on you, which pushes the player back. So right now it is using 0.2, so you won't notice it when we shoot, but it is actually pushing the player a bit backwards whenever it shoots. So let me just increase it, like make it 5. And if we test out, if we shoot, I don't working. Um, Maybe I have to use a very low value here, 0.1. I'm not sure if it is working or not, but it was working when I created this extension. Make it 50 that I can debug it. I know it is still buggy. Maybe it only works with the AIs, I think. It should work because if it is not working, then I might probably update this extension. So when I created this, it was working. Maybe it is between 0 to 1. Clamped it to 0 to 1 so that we don't touch high. Maybe we have to check with the shotgun only. I'm not sure. It should work. Again. So it's not working. Maybe shoot once will make it work. Nope. So there is definitely a bug or something that's not working with this. We will look into this later. I will probably fix it with an update. So then we have this option, collision destroy delay. So this is something which will destroy the bullets whenever or bullets collides with the obstacles or walls. So it will decide how faster the bullets will destroy. So right now it uses where were we? Right now it uses 50 milliseconds. So it uses 50 ms to destroy the bullet. You can increase it to 1000, then it will take a much more time to destroy the bullet whenever it collides. So let's just make it 5000. We just make it 5000. And now if I test it, and if we shoot, then you can see the bullet impact nodes stays here for 5 seconds and then they disappear. So it will decide for how long you want your impact to be displayed. So let's say if your impact animation has much higher time and it is not just 2 textures, it has so many textures, that then you can increase the collision destroy delay so that it will work perfectly with your animate a texture or the impact animation. Let me just change it back to 50. Then we have this option. If this object is a player or is an AI, if this is AI is selected, then you won't be able to move with the arrow keys and mouse. It will automatically move just like a random player, and it will shoot its enemies automatically. So it will now act as an AI if you have this attached. So instead of now checking the player, we are going to move towards the AI section. So just select the ally or enemy, then go to their behavior. And now we have these AI properties like is AI. So right now we are using this as an enemy. Then we have AI health. What health we want to give to the AI. So the enemy, this particular enemy one has 100 health. And then we have to specify text just like the inbuilt AI behavior. You can specify whether it's an enemy, whether it's an ally, whether it's a player, or whether it's a red team, blue team, green team, whatever text you want to give it to. Then you have attack actors with text. Then you can provide the enemy or enemy tag, or you can say AI tag to which this enemy one will attack. So we have provided player as enemy for this enemy one. So it will treat player as its enemy and will attack the player based on the tags. So if it will look any node in the scene with this player tag, and then it will attack that node whenever it comes in the proximity of the AI. Then we have enemy size, which is the size of the enemy. You can say right now it is 100. We look here, then we will create a virtual size for our enemy, to which it will use for colliding, I think, and for shooting and all those stuff. So you have to specify an enemy size. It is a virtual size that has nothing to do with the right size or like that, but you have to create it manually according to your enemies or player or whatever object you have in your scene to which this behavior is attached. Then we have AI activation radius. It is going to be the radius on which the AI is going to activate. So whenever the enemy one gets in 200 radius of this player, it is going to activate and start chasing the player. It will start chasing the player. And once it gets into the shooting radius, which is 100, then it will start shooting the player. So you can change it to something like 50 or maybe 500. It is better to use a much higher activation radius than the shooting radius. So you can use 500 as an activation radius. So it will activate the AI whenever it comes in the 500 radius of this player, and it will start chasing the player. Once it reaches to the 100, then it will shoot the player. And if it isn't in the 100 radius and the player is moving, it will continuously chase the player until the player goes out of the 500 radius or out of the activation radius. Then we have AI stop chasing radius. You can also specify if you want to stop the chasing the player. For example, if player is out of 300 radius, then it will start then it will stop chasing the player. So you have activation radius as 500. Let's say you have activation radius as 500, but you want your AI to stop chasing the player if the player goes out of 300. But then it will again start chasing the player, because you need to make sure that your start activation radius is less than the chasing radius, stop chasing radius, because you won't if uh, if this is less than the activation radius. So let's say, where is our enemy one? This is our enemy one, and so our activation radius is 500 in here, and our stop chasing radius is 300. So let's say our AI stopped chasing the player at 300, but we have activation radius 500. So it will still remain in the 500 radius, and it automatically starts chasing the player again. So it doesn't, it won't work then. So you have to make sure that you are going to use something else here, like 600, then it will chase the player correctly. So you need to make sure that you are using an activation radius higher than the shooting radius and less than the chasing radius, and your chasing radius should be higher than the activation radius. Then you have AI minimum and maximum roaming area. So you can specify in which area you want your AI to roam. So let's say it is the AI position, or let's say it is the position minus 500, and it is the position positive 500, and your AI is somewhere in between, and you want your AI only roam at this position and maximum this position, and then it will also use maximum 500 here and minimum 500 here. So it is better if you use negative and positive for the minimum and maximum roaming area. It is hard to define it in words. Right now I'm using minus 1500 for the minimum roaming area, and for the maximum roaming area I'm using 1500. That's because I think I have this minus 1500, 1500, and 0 is somewhere here. Select this, and if I look at attributes, so it is 1450, so it is almost like z-axis is almost like 1500. So I am using minus 1500 because our area is gaming, or play area is just 1500 by 1500. So yeah, that's how you have to specify your minimum and maximum roaming area according to your playable area of the game. Then we have other options for the AI. Let's just see. We have AI decay delay. So whenever AI gets killed, for how long it should displayed on the screen or in the scene. If you want it to delete immediately, then you can decrease this delay speed, like something like 50 or 10, then it will just get vanishes away from the screen whenever it gets deleted. So let's just make it 10. And we don't know which one is our enemy one. This one is our enemy one, but we have to make sure that here, so that we can shoot it at earliest. So if I start the scene, I think it will automatically start chasing me. Yeah, because I am in the radius 500. And then if I shoot it, it gets killed right away. That's how it gets killed. And because we have AI decay delay, and if I make it like 5000, then it will stay on the screen for 5 seconds. And if I shoot it, then it will remain on the screen for 5 seconds, and then it will vanishes from the screen. So that's how you can use this AI delay or AI decay delay. Then we have some actions for the AIs, like action on move, action on idle, action on shoot, action on reload, action on impact, action on activate, action on hit, action on death. So you can execute an action when your AI gets killed or the player gets killed. These are not these are AI independent. So you don't have to make sure that is AI is selected or not. You can simply execute an action whenever your character is moving, or if your character is in idle mode, which means it is not moving, So you can also execute an action whenever you are shooting. You can also execute an action whenever you are reloading. You can also execute an action on impact whenever your bullets collides with anything in the scene. You can also, like you want to play a sound, then you can use to play a sound like explosion sound or something else. Then you can also execute an action on activate. It is for the AI. Whenever AI gets activate, like you want to play a sound or something else, then you can do it here. Then you have action or hit. If AI gets damaged, then you can execute an action, then action on death. I think that's all for this extensive behavior. You can create a lot different types of guns and so many things with this extension. You can play with the properties and it will allow you to create so many different types of guns and uh, you know shooting behaviors and all those stuff for your game. And I'm using these cube meshes. You can use something else. You can use animated objects as well, animated AI as well, all those stuff, and it will manage all the things automatically. You don't have to worry about anything. Right now it uses WASD for the player movement and arrow keys for the player movement and R key for the reload and left mouse button for shooting. You can change it in the extension if you want. You can change the keys, and I will probably update it, but there are not so many requests or not so many purchases to this extension. So right now it is not in a development stage. It is on hold. But if this is very underrated, I really think this is very underrated because it has its own AI, it has its own collision detection, it has its own shooting mechanism, and so many things. So you can see how many properties we have here. But I don't know why people are not interested in this extension. So now let's just move ahead. This is all about the extension. Now I'm going to show you the tip on how you can prevent yourself from creating repetitive tasks, or how to use how to use animated nodes in 2D games properly. If you look, if I select any of the object, like if I select the player and if I move here, then you will notice there are three things or three bounding boxes like things you can see here. First, there is this box, which you might not be aware of what it is. Then we have this green, which is just the bounding box. Then we have this circle here. And how I utilize the options, I'm going to show you in a moment. So first we have this collide when moved, which is the circular thing in this, you can say, apply to this character. And there is this box here. It is also a collision box. And how I am using this collision box for detecting the collision in my game. So this is actually a static node, but I converted it into a static animated mesh. So you look at here, there is a play sign here. That means it is an animated node. It is not a static object like this. It is not a mesh. We converted it into a static object. And once you have an static object, let me just quickly go to the animated mesh editor. Then you can see we have AI here. It is pink, and I don't have to color all the AIs manually. I just created one AI, and then if I change the vertex color of this original AI 11, click here and create an instance, it will simply create an instance of the AI, the animation, static instance. And I don't have to manually create the collision boxes for all the AIs. So let's say we have this enemy one here, which say it is our player one, it is our player two, and I'm going to show you in a moment. Let's just create an instance for player two. And now we have this animated mesh. This is our player two. And now what I'm gonna, if I move it like here, now you can see we have two players. So if I go to its behavior, there is no behavior attached to this, but to this we have a behavior attached. Then you can simply press Control B, and if you want to use the same behavior, then you can press Control J. This is how you can copy the behaviors. But the reason I'm not going to tell you how to copy the behaviors, main reason why I'm telling you this is, if I apply any vertex color, let's say that vertex color, and let me just use green. I don't know if it, so you can see this object automatically becomes green. I don't have to do it for this instance of this animated, statically animated object. And you will notice that it has this collider, static collision box attached to it. And what this static collision box will do is, whenever my AI shoots this player or this object, then it will detect the collision. I don't have to rely uh, on the plane mesh collision. Like even if I have collision disabled, there is no collision properties for the animated object. So let's say I am using a cube mesh instead of a plane mesh, and I don't want my collision to be detected on the boundaries here. So if I have used cube mesh, then it has a bounding box like this. Or if I have used the plane mesh, then it has the bounding box like this. So the plane mesh will be up to here. And I don't want my colliders to detected here on the bounding box. Or you can say, if even if the plane mesh is like this, I don't want the collision to be detected here. Excuse me. So I just want to detect the collisions only in this part where the box is showing me. So how you can do that? You can simply go to here and set static collision box. And then you can change the values here. I'm using these values for the collision detection. And you can use something else. And then when you shoot, this will detect the collision instead of the cube mesh, because there is no collision for static animated meshes. You can create your custom colliders. And the best part is, these custom colliders are visible in the scene viewport in the editor. So you don't have to manually create colliders for like this. You don't have to create cube mesh and then use that as a static colliders to check the collisions for your animated objects. So why do you need to check the collisions for the static animated objects? You want to shoot and you don't want your object to pass through, and you can also combine the collide when moved behavior with it. Just make sure that collide when moved behavior is inside this box. So that is how I'm doing the collision detection. You can see the colliders here. Whenever I shoot bullet, it collides here and it gets destroyed, and the player or the enemy gets damaged. So this is how I am detecting the collision with the help of static animated meshes. It is really recommended to use static animated meshes when you are creating 2D games. And as these are instance, so they all are instance of each other, you will save a lot of resources. It will increase your performance. That is why when you look at the terrain, and let me just go to perspective mode. So whenever you look at this terrain, it has so many trees, but it has so many trees, but they don't affect the performance because they all are instanced objects. So if I go here, then you can see there is this tree one, and they all are the same objects, or same, they are just, all the rest of the trees are just instance of this same object. So if I change this tree one, like if I change the static collision box for this particular tree one, then it will change the collision box for everything. Let me just make it to 0. Then you will see none of the tree has the collision. And this is really useful when you want to save performance and when you want to optimize your scene. So always use static animated meshes wherever it is necessary, wherever you don't want your triangulated collisions or automatic collision for your scene. It will save you a lot of performance and it will help you in example for example in visualizing your collision in the game. So you can see I have this yellow or orange like collider, static collider in my scene, and this yellow ellipsoid as a collide when moved behavior, so that whenever our AI is moving, it will use this collide when moved. But whenever we are shooting it, it will use this collider box or the collision box. Instead of, you can use it to avoid collision for this. I just want, whenever I want, I just want the collision to be enabled on the body of the player or on the body of the AI, but not on the gun. So whenever the bullet goes through the gun, it should not give damage to the AI. It should only give damage to when it collides with the body of the enemy. So that's where it comes really helpful, really handy. So that's a tip on when you want to create 2D games, even for 3D games. Try to use static animated objects wherever it is necessary. You can save yourself from so many repetitive tasks. And you can also simply you can also make them, if I right click here and modify selection, then you can also distribute them on the terrain, distribute over terrain. So this works only for the static animated meshes. I don't know why it is not showing me. So yeah, it is showing me because it wasn't showing me previously. I don't know why, but it is now showing me that distribute over terrain, because there is some bugs in the CopperCube scene graph explorers. Sometimes whenever if you have, even if you have this node selected, it is not actually selected in the 3D scene viewport. It is something else. Like maybe it was selecting the cube mesh, but when I click on this, so you can distribute it over terrain and you can set the amount and also distribute on the terrain. If you want to use it, you can use it. You can create a plane terrain and then apply a plane texture to it. Like, let me just delete it and create a flat terrain without any trees. Now you can see, and I already have some enemies here, but let's just say I want to create instance or distribute them or terrain. You can see I have this enemy one selected, and whenever I'm trying to modify selection, but in the scene graph, you can see our terrain is selected. In the scene 3D viewport, our terrain is selected, but in the scene graph, we have enemy one selected. So this is a bug. Sometimes it happens. You have to select scene node again. So modify selection, distribute over terrain, and let's just, I'm gonna cover the 50% area of the landscape. Now we have so many enemies in our scene or in our terrain. You can see there are so many enemies, and this is not updated in real time, but when you, for example, I make it like this, then you can see terrain gets updated and there are so many enemy, and they don't have any behaviors, but they will have the colliders and other stuff. Then you can see it is not moving. My player is not moving because of the colliders. Might get stuck between this and the AI is not also, because they get merged into each other and the colliders are interacting with each other. So the colliders are working. That's what I want to see. So that's how you can save your time and do some stuff with statically animated meshes. And that's all for today's videos. Hopefully I will fix these bugs. Like I don't know why the recoil push thing is not working. Recoil thrust was not working on the player. I don't know why. Then we have this aim only when mouse moved. I don't remember at all what this option was for, but hopefully I will fix this in an update. Make a thread on the 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪𝙗𝙚. So that's all for today's video. I think I have covered all options. We have covered the 2D platformer, 2D top-down shooter, point and click, and RPG movement controller. Then we have the camera stuff, which already has a dedicated video. Then we have a 2D animation scripts, which already has a dedicated video. So I don't have to repeat those stuff again in this video. So this video is all about how to use these and what these platformer controllers and all those stuff does to your game for creating 2D games easily. And I think I have skipped a lot of stuff. Like I haven't shown you how to use 2D animation scripts along with the 2D platformer and all those stuff. But they are pretty self-explanatory. You don't need to learn about them or like that, because I don't have any sprites right now in my scene. I don't have any stuff or assets in my computer that I can use and show you, because these projects have been created a very long time ago and I don't have the original assets right now in my PC. I am unable to show you all the stuff even if I want to. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button. New to the channel, then you can also subscribe. And I'm also going to add some extensions from neophyte.cf to this 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪𝙗𝙚 page, so that whenever I push an update, my followers get a notification. This extension has got an update, has got, and all those stuff. You already can download so many stuff from 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪𝙗𝙚 page. Some of them are available on Neophyte, which is now at 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪𝙗𝙚.io. All of those stuff. And yeah, you might already notice this. This is Khel Game Engine, which is a prototype game engine that I am working on right now. That's why I am not able to provide you the promised videos, short videos on how to use 2D overlays and all those stuff in CopperCube, because I am busy in creating this Khel, the game engine. It is still a prototype, but it has so many, you know, uh, working things. I can show. If I go my new desktop thing and I have where it is, Khel. I just deleted that. Yeah, here it is. Khel Engine. Select it. So if I open it, it looks like pretty much like CopperCube. I have changed this in a lot, but this is not how the final version will look. But this is just a beginning. And right now with the video recording on and yes, I don't know why it is giving me 32. Close it. Start it again. Oh, it is giving us 378 FPS. I don't know what happened when So it is probably buggy because it is not well optimized. If I go like this, FPS goes 218 to 381 again. But when I maximize it right now, so now it is something that's playable. So it is not 23 or 30. So it is now good. So there is definitely some bugs or optimizations need to be done. So this is how the Khel game engine prototype looks right now named as custom editor. And we have the scene graph explorer, which you can see here. You can select the new 3D scene. You can change the ambient light color and all the stuff. You can also change the name of the root scene node, like root node. You can change the skybox, something else, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You can simply click this to hide and unhide, or this. You can create a sphere. You can apply some behaviors, I think. Rotation, start rotating. You can move it around. You can scale it up and down. There is also some textures, but I don't know why it is missing directory issues. And then you can also create a other skybox, which is a default CopperCube. Pretty good. Delete it by pressing delete. Delete the as well. You can also create a cube mesh with a scale, something like this. Create a cube here. You can also change the head. Won't be able to see the point cloud for the cube, but for the sphere, I think maybe you are able to see the point. Zoom and it. We have enable and disable. Won't get affected by the fog. Turn this off. It won't get affected by the fog and all those stuff that you have in the original CopperCube editor. So I am trying to create my custom editor, and I named it Khel. Hopefully, it is still in development, and hopefully, it will be available. Play around and publish games. Yeah, that's all for today's videos. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye. Hasta la vista. Take care.